life is just interesting and amazing, whether or not you get what you want. Because sometimes you get what you want, and you're like, far out, man. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you don't get what you want, and you're like, interesting.
Interesting.
I could fucking scream and cry about why life's not fair and I didn't get what I want, or I could observe, ooh, things didn't go my way. I didn't get what I want. Isn't that interesting? How is this setting me up, this down moment in the circle, to set me up for some positive shit coming up?
Yeah, and that's awareness of short-term feedback versus long-term.
Yeah.
In the moment, observe the emotion that comes in, observe the thoughts that come in, and then
Sit with them,
learn to accept them, breathe, and exhale, let it go. That's a good.
Feels good, man.
Feels great.
Try that shit. Welcome back to the Bridge Podcast. I'm Sean Nixon.
Jonathan Matthew here.
How you feeling today?
I'm doing peachy.
I'm fucking beautiful.
Peaches and cream right now. That's how I'm feeling.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to you about training your mind.
Train your mind.
You've heard Bruce Lee. I was going to say, you just took it, you did a little Bruce Lee accent as I was about to fucking talk about Bruce Lee. But everything starts from the mind. We've been telling you from day one, everything is connected, and thoughts are energy. But if you know anything about physics, everything is energy. And we're going to translate that to your food, your muscle, your fat, your sports performance, and your health.
Health, lifestyle, putting it all together.
Breaking stuff.
Knocking shit down. All right, perfect. So in terms of training your mind, we talked about training your body physically, right? And that's a really tangible process, right?
High reps, low reps, heavy shit, light shit, pump shit, cardio, sprints, jumping up and down, yoga, da-da-da.
It's when you talk about the physical aspect of things, it feels much more, or it has been
mobility work,
much more like prescriptive, I think, because there's numbers, there's ranges, there's types of things.
Right.
With your mind, there isn't really that. We think of training your mind as going to school, but school is, and they're not. They can be the same thing, but they're not exclusively the same thing, right? You can learn a lot. A lot of famous people or really smart people have dropped out of school because they've learned better things elsewhere.
Yeah, learning is on you. School can be.
Yeah, you can go to school and not learn anything, right?
Shit.
Yeah, so you can just memorize things for a test, to take the test, pass it, and then forget it all, right? So that's not learning. That's just passing a test. That's just being good at school and necessarily training your mind. So I did not like school personally. I did not.
No, I hated it.
The system, or just the way just wasn't for me.
Yep.
There's a lot of reasons I didn't like it.
Yep, and it's for some people and it's not for everybody.
But the moment I left college and graduated, I started learning so much more.
Me too.
We
are so on the same page.
Yeah, the moment it happened, I started expanding my mind into much
too.
more places, and I've learned so much more in the last 4 years than I ever did.
Me too. I've always said school sucks. But knowledge, learning, and education are some of the most important things that we have.
Yeah, and going back, there was a lot I could have learned from school, but I was never taught how to learn, which is the big issue that I think faces a lot of
the children how to learn.
Youth and the adults too, because a lot of adults think they're done with learning once they get done with school, and that's just not the case. Every moment, like we just talked about, every moment, every instance, every event, every person you meet is an opportunity to learn, right? So
100%.
we think of things as good or bad, but really just all presenting us with an opportunity to grow and learn. So
the day you're done learning is the day you're done living.
You're done Ooh.
Because that's what, I don't get too deep too early in the fucking show, but that's
dip my toe here, Sean.
You know how you ever think of why are we here or what's the meaning of life or whatever?
Why are we here,
I think everything is a test and everything is a lesson in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Because there's everything to be learned from, and sometimes, like you said, it's the same.
Well, I think we'll get into a lot more of how that really can be visually made sense of in a little bit.
Sure. Sure, with some science. And not just some hippie fucking nonsense. So we have 6 different, like we were talking about different modalities of physical training. We have 6 different modalities. Not that there's only 6, but we've written down 6.
6 main ones that
to discuss
we find useful.
For training your mind.
Yeah. So first one is listen. What are you guys doing right now? Hopefully listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
which is what we have here first. Thanks.
Podcast, audiobooks, lectures, documentaries, anything you're using your eyes and ears, or at least just your ears, to consume knowledge.
Yeah, there's lots of smart people out there, lots of people who understand the meaning of life, which we just talked about, and have lots of great knowledge to share. I mean, what got me down the rabbit hole, per se, into opening this up was we were just talking about Alan Watts, is another famous lecturer. We have the same birthday, by the way. No coincidence.
What?
There. Yeah.
You didn't tell me
fun
that.
Fun fact, yeah. But so that got, if you have never heard of Alan Watts, he's pretty famous by now to a lot of people, but maybe not to some, and that's okay. But famous.
Type Alan Watts on YouTube and just enjoy yourself.
Have your mind blown. Yes. But yeah. So, and you said documentaries. The Ram Dass documentary you mentioned last
so
week.
Many good ones.
But like any documentary or audiobook or podcast, there's so much knowledge, information out there that it's hard not to be consumed with positive information, right? But there's also so much distracting stuff out there. So when we say listen, obviously be aware of what you're listening to, for one. And if you have a choice between listening to news that's trying to sell you fear or something that's trying to educate you on how to become a better person,
the choice is yours.
Choice is yours. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you
do whatever the fuck you want to
do.
do.
Thing,
just we're here to tell you to be aware.
Yes, yeah.
That you're being lied to, manipulated, sold
by everybody,
goods, and fear by everything all the time, and it's your choice to separate from those things.
Yeah. So listen, and also listening is also good practice about becoming a better person.
So there you go.
Actually listening.
In a conversation, you shouldn't be waiting for your turn to fucking speak. You should be listening, thinking, and then responding.
Sorry,
that's
I didn't hear anything you just said. I was going to say the next thing we're going to do is read. Read is our next category. So great technology has given us the ability to listen to podcasts and listen to documentaries, audiobooks, Audible. I'm a big fan of that. But there's nothing quite like an old-fashioned book, I think.
Back in my day, they used to slice.
Back in my day,
they used to slice trees real thin, write some words on them.
Real thin, like.
Some good old-fashioned book learning.
Yeah, I mean, I love reading books. For me, it's also because I'm a. This is a funny side story here, but I actually took when I was in middle school, I did like SAT or SSAT, whatever, PSAT, prep, whatever.
A fucking overachiever, huh?
Well, no, that's my parents says, hey, you're doing this. I'm like, okay. Right. But they made us. Everybody was doing it. There's a bunch of kids. Take a test to see how best you learn, and it was 60 or 70 questions initially. And I just remember doing it. I don't remember even thinking about it. They should just go through
to find out what type of learner you are.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. This is important.
So I think there's three major categories. There's kinesthetic, which is hands-on learning, visual learning, and then auditory learning. And so I actually scored. I think the lady I was working with, she had never seen it before, but I scored a 33.3
on all of them.
33.33, and 33.39 on everything. And I didn't try to do that. I was just doing it. But 33.39 was visual. So she's like, I guess that's your predominant one, the 0.09%.
So you're saying you might have to hear some shit, read some shit, and do some shit to fully comprehend.
That's why I like all these, because I do them all. But as going back into a book, I like having something visual to go back to. I'm a big highlighter, big note taker. And the speed, and reading a book really helps me slow down because I can listen to an audiobook and sometimes maybe get lost in a thought or something like that. But if I'm reading a book, I kind of have to look at it.
Life hack. Read the book with headphones in of the audiobook on double speed.
Whoa!
And you just rip through a book like closed caption.
That's interesting.
Because then you're getting the audio and the visual.
That's intense.
You're damn right.
That's great. That's a new one. I'm gonna
not
write
gonna
that
teach
one.
you that in school, kids.
Nope.
That's how I suck down all these books, and chew them up and spit them into your mouth like a baby bird.
But yeah, articles too. There's tons of good people writing articles, and myself included, online. And also, sacred texts. I put that up there just because you don't have to be...
Ancient wisdom to learn from.
Exactly. I mean, everything's connected, guys. We're going to go over that again. But most of those ancient religious or sacred texts, spiritual texts, are all really saying the same thing in just way more profound and metaphorically intense way.
Every spiritual guru, every scientist, and every religious text are saying the same fucking things.
Just different ways. And we just get attached to one person saying
this is the enemy, this is my favorite, this is my... It's all tribalism and separation.
Separation, right? So...
but they're all saying the same fucking thing.
And they all have great wisdom. Maybe you had a bad experience with Catholicism when you were growing up. Some nun smacked you with a ruler.
Yeah.
I get it, but the Bible has a lot of good information in it. So does the Quran. So does the Tao Te Ching.
Defund the nuns.
Defund. But yeah, and there's a little take a nugget of wisdom. So that's reading for you. That's a pretty simple one. This one I think is one that a lot of people are starting to do more now. I see at least, and I've done since college. My last day of at college, my one friend was leaving, and he handed me a journal. And that was the first journal I ever wrote. And his aunt has a company that made like leather-bound, nice like journals. And he was telling me, yeah, like I write it down all the time. And like I just used to see him like write, and like, oh, this is interesting. And that spawned a whole new thing. But journaling for me is a really big one, just to get my thoughts out. It's like a pinball machine up here all the time for me at least, and maybe most of you.
Pinball machine.
So like if that doesn't go anywhere, like it's just gonna keep bouncing around and around and around and around in my head. Like if you've ever had that thought, you keep repeating the same thought over and over and over again in your head.
Especially before bed, and sometimes you write it down and shut it, and then boom, you can go to sleep because you put it on paper.
You just got it
out of your brain.
Got it out. Because a lot of times for me, that bouncing around the head is it's trying to be released, that thought, and it has no way of doing it because I haven't been able to tell anybody the thought.
Yes.
I just write that down. So
that's why we've set up the camera, so we can spew our thoughts and not stay up.
Exactly. This is really just for us, not you, really.
For now, it really is. The pinball machine metaphor is so good. I hear the music and shit in my head too. Pling, 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 pling,
Constantly.
Constantly, I love it. So do you separate structured journaling with question prompts and thoughts about your day versus just a random thought stream where you're letting it flow?
Yeah, so I started doing like the thought stream first thing in the morning after reading The Artist's Way, which is a really good book for any creative or just any person in general looking to enhance their creativity through spirituality and a little bit of actual practical work. Just like a morning thought stream. Again, like when I wake up, like two things. I know you meditate to clear the minds.
First thing in the morning, I meditate, and when I come out, I go right to the notes to not lose everything.
I do it the other way because I tend to wake up with a lot of the thoughts I had from the day before, so I get those thoughts out, and then I meditate. So it's a thought stream. I'm literally writing everything that comes into my head, not trying to curate it because it's not for anybody. I don't even go back and look at the morning.
Really?
They call morning pages very often.
You're just getting it out.
Just getting it out. And sometimes there's good information on there, which I'll transfer over to something else. But awesome. But yeah, so I'll have a specific designated time for just a thought stream, and I'll have a more thoughtful actual journal if I'm trying to, get into an idea or had a deep thought that I want to get down. So I kind of distinctly do them, and then also like, and you're big on this. And it's a really great thing is like having a structured questions, journaling like prompts, right? It's like what did I learn? What am I grateful for? What did I learn today?
So I meditate first thing in the morning and do the thought stream right after, and then at night you can do.
Yeah, what are the main ones you use again?
Oh man, I got new ones too. Like,
pop some three.
Oh, three out there.
Yeah.
What did I learn today? What am I grateful for today? Who did I help or who helped me today?
Those are four things that are really easy and allow you to, for one, to just reflect on your day, and really positive things, right? It's like
everything is positive.
So you're going to bed in a positive state, because how many people you guys go to bed anxious, worried, upset, angry, right?
That's why it's good to do before bed. Just gratitude, science shows, studies have shown that if you practice gratitude or journaling before bed and write some stuff down, we're all breaking shit today. Write some stuff down before bed, you get much better quality and quantity of sleep, which if you only give a shit about big biceps and big butts and less fat and more muscle, quality sleep is where your recovery takes place. No one ever got bigger, stronger, faster, lost fat, gained muscle, and got stronger in the gym. The exercise is a stimulus, and you recover when you drink water, eat, and sleep.
That's some facts right there.
Science.
So yeah, some affirmations, thought streams, journaling, writing is a very powerful exercise that you can do. Also for like visualization or manifestation stuff. Whether you believe in like the law of attraction doesn't matter, but just having a vision down and concrete, because some people's like, I don't know what to do with my life, or I kind of want to do this, but as soon as you make it specific in writing, now I have something for that energy of my mind to really focus on.
So even writing down your goals or something
100%. Like that. It can be super simple. It doesn't have to be like super eloquent. Like,
no, but instead
make
of
it as detailed as you want.
An ethereal thought in your head, now it's on paper, and you've made the choice to physically write it down.
Yeah.
Love it. Love everything about it.
So writing. Now we got thinking.
Thinking's hard, John.
My brain hurts.
Thinking's important. Some people like to think in the shower. Some people like to think on the toilet. Some people go for a walk and think.
Some people don't think.
Some people, not enough fucking people think for themselves. I'll tell you what. Thinking is hard. It uses a lot of energy. Your brain is the most inefficient organ in the body. It uses the most energy.
That's
for
why
sure.
all you guys are really tired and you didn't really do anything all day, because it's just that you just thought yourself into
Overthinking.
exhaustion.
Overthinking
I've
yourself
I've done
into
it myself
exhaustion.
too many times. I'm learning my lesson.
Over and over and over.
So yeah, you talked about a couple of ways you can. I'm a big shower thinker, and I'm a big walking thinker. So
Yeah, walking and thinking is huge.
so that's a different type of. So we'll get into meditation in a second.
Yeah, you can call it a moving meditation or a walking meditation because you're getting thoughts out,
Yeah.
but you're not fully resting the mind or the body. So it's not a traditional meditation, but it's a form of meditation.
And then what I differentiate between just like having thoughts come to you versus thinking,
Creating a thought?
is what I call is contemplation,
I
because
love that.
that's an intentional time to think.
Love it.
Right? Because if I just let myself thoughts come in, I'll be getting tons of random thoughts about everything, and that's not really that productive because it's again pinballs again.
Yep.
But if I can kind of focus, like I want to think about this thing, or I need to contemplate an idea or a project or the podcast or some prep for something or my meal plan or workout.
But that just shows that you are not your thoughts, and some of them come and go, and some you can control and
focus in or
herd
hone
them
in.
in. Yes.
Yeah, kind of like a camera lens. I'm zooming out, zooming in. What am I focusing on in terms of my thoughts?
Love it.
And I put mindfulness in that too, because mindfulness is again just the awareness of the thoughts that you have, right? Or just being conscious.
The observer of the thoughts.
Yes.
You are not the thoughts.
Seer.
You are seeing the thoughts. You're playing this game. Like if you've seen the movie Avatar and he gets in the fucking thing, he has to learn how to control it. That's what you are. You're controlling this mammal body. It's fucking fun.
And this
You should
thing
be
too.
enjoying it. And then we get to regular meditation, which could be sitting, lying, standing, could be with a group, could be by yourself, could be breathing, could be chanting, could be with headphones, with an app,
Float
with
tank.
binaural beats, in a float tank, on plant medicines, by yourself, you know what I mean?
In the
In the
woods.
woods, right, literally.
Yeah.
Basically just allowing yourself to breathe, clearing your mind, and not becoming attached to your thoughts and emotions. And once again, having the awareness and the mindfulness that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, you are not your body. You're in control of those things, and watching them come and go, like clouds coming and going, like waves coming and going. And then you feel a lot better after, in many different ways, because it's not, I am depressed, I am anxious, I am fat, I am this. No, you're not. You're perfect, and you're experiencing feelings of depression. You are perfect, and you may be temporarily experiencing feelings of anxiety.
Yeah.
This too shall pass, and you get that sense of, oh, I wasn't depressed and anxious, and I won't be. I am now, and I have the choice to not be. And then accepting that.
Yeah. That's what we have here, awareness and non-attachment.
Non-attachment and acceptance and letting go.
Yeah, it's all part of the same process. Accept, then let go.
If you're
then
pushing
accept, then
too
let go.
hard or pulling too hard, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't think about this.
Do less.
Don't think about
Do less.
this.
Do less. Do less.
Don't think about this. Don't think about
Yeah,
this.
because if you're trying to make something happen or trying to reject something, you're giving the thought more power than yourself, right?
Yeah, nothing's more powerful than you. Don't think about a pink elephant. You fucking
I
did
was
it.
trying to do like green giraffe in my head. It didn't work.
Didn't work because you said it, so you thought it, and you manifested it. But you also don't pull too much either, how much you want, because that's attachment. That's not non-attachment. That's attachment.
I mean, Alan Watts has the famous teaching. I love it, and I'm listening to it, re-listening to a lecture, one of my favorite lectures from him about letting go, and it's the whole, it's the trap of the spiritual path for the Buddhist student is, desire is one of the main roots of all sufferings, to stop desiring, but desiring to not desire is still desiring. Right? So you fall into this trap of there's nothing to do and there's nothing that can be done.
So everything's perfect.
So you just got to let everything go.
That's funny too.
You can't want to let everything go because it's also desire. So it's
just let it go.
You just have to
go with the flow.
Yeah.
Don't want to.
Don't not want.
Yeah, because that's how you get hurt, is wanting shit. Because that's what Ram Dass said. He's like, life is just interesting and amazing, whether or not you get what you want. Because sometimes you get what you want, and you're like, far out, man. That's fucking great.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you don't get what you want, and you're like, interesting. I could fucking scream and cry about why life's not fair and I didn't get what I want, or I could observe, ooh, things didn't go my way. I didn't get what I want. Isn't that interesting? How is this setting me up, this down moment in the circle, to set me up for some positive shit coming up.
Yeah, and that's awareness of short-term feedback versus long-term.
Yeah.
In the moment, observe the emotion that comes in, observe the thoughts that come in, and then
Sit with them.
Sit with them. Learn to accept them. Breathe and exhale. Let it go. That's a good.
Feels
time.
good, man.
Feels great.
Try that shit. And that, I think you put the perfect order too. Maybe coincidence, maybe not.
100%.
Because if you think, and then because I think this is the perfect order actually. The same way that we had the perfect order of like layers of health and other things that we've put in order. First you want to listen, then you want to read, then you want to write. Because if you read something, you're writing notes about it or something like that, then it helps you think. But then when you meditate, it helps you create. Or at least for me, the blockages that you move out of the way by letting things go allow you to be creative.
Yeah, creation is a really, really big one for me. That's like I've been a quote unquote, I think everybody's creative. A lot of people say I'm not creative because most people think you need to be able to draw like a magnificent painting. That's what creativity is.
You have easier access to
if you're a woman, you have the eternal essence of creativity built into your body. You are the vehicle for creation, right? If you had a kid and you're listening to this, you created something more powerful than anything that I could make with a magnificent painting, right? The essence of life is creation, whether you believe that was God putting some people on a planet with animals or you believe the Big Bang happened. It was all created.
It's the same goddamn thing.
Same thing. It's creation, right? So the essence and those particles of dust that create the plant that end up creating us, we are essence of creation. That's how I like to think of it is. So you literally have creativity built into your entire being. So just fathom that for a second.
So not just art, like if you're like, I can't sing and draw.
No.
You can express some type of creativity.
That's why I put it as authentic expression. It can be art in the fact that you're making music, you're making art, but I think people put themselves into a box too many times.
I'm not an artist.
Well, I'm not creative, right? But if you create a business, you're creative.
If you're a bodybuilder,
you're creating a physique. If you write a book, you're creating a book. If you're literally creating things. If you made a sandwich, you created a fucking sandwich.
An entrepreneur is creating a company, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's anything.
And the most important part about that is tapping into the essence of creation with his authentic expression, not making something. I remember I had a friend who I was trying to do like a creative project with, and he's very much, I guess, right-brained, very logical, and he's very much the person who says, I can't create, I'm not creative.
So that would be left brain. Like
left
logic, linear, math.
Yeah, very good at math, science, stuff like that. But he was creative. He just couldn't see himself in that way. And
sure,
that's just a
that was me for a very long time.
This is a perceptual thing that he has to let go of.
Become aware of and let go of, for
sure. Yeah.
You're blocking your own damn creativity.
But when we were trying to do, we were just going to do these kind of paintings for our apartment. He was one of my best friends, and he's like, I don't know what am I supposed to make? I'm like, you're not supposed to do anything.
Color outside the lines, bro.
Yeah, just authentically express. This is when we start to judge ourselves. Is when we say, I'm not a good artist. I'm not creative because we say this is bad art because we compare it to Van Gogh or Picasso. But they weren't comparing themselves to anybody else.
Well, it's funny that you chose those two as a random example because they were pretty outside the box, especially Picasso.
Extraordinarily outside the box. He didn't become famous until like really after he died, right?
That's true. He didn't get
most famous artists aren't famous until after they die because no one appreciates them in their time because they are so far out with their style. So it's really just about making what's authentically yours for a couple of different reasons. Because it'll be real for one. You won't be living a lie. So you're expressing truth. There you go. And you'll just enjoy it more, right? Like I've tried to make things that I thought people would like. I've tried to make myself into something that people will like, and it just doesn't. It's unsustainable. It doesn't work. So I'm just creating what I like to make.
And you can't change them.
And it's working out a lot better for me than anything else I've ever tried.
So even if you can't fucking sing, dance, write, and make a sculpture, if you feel like you have an unhealthy body or mind, you can create a healthy person.
Yeah.
Through exercise, positive thoughts, and good food.
Create a vision of what you want. That's creativity right itself right there. A manifestation of that is creativity. Everything
that's ever been invented or done was a thought first, which brings us to, E equals MC squared, right?
Famous theory of relativity, Albert Einstein, one of the most respected minds of science, who also, everyone thinks of him as science, but he recognized that everything is interconnected or connected. And that everything is basically just energy. So he was really on the next level what we're going to get to here, like on a spiritual sense, not just scientifically, and really connected those two
That's
things.
what the bridge is, connecting science and spirituality and showing people that energy is matter, which is fucking what Albert Einstein's been telling you. Energy equals mass
times speed of light squared, right? So that's what E equals mc squared is, if you guys don't know what that means.
So it's energy equals mass times this, times now.
So mass, we think of matter, right? Or is the stuff, my laptop, his body, this thing is stuff, or is it's like the solid thing. So going back, if we were talking about school earlier, that's one thing I did learn in school, is the difference between solid, liquid, and gas, right? In the states,
Different states of matter.
they say states, and basically just different densities.
So
and organizations of matter, right?
Because energy cannot be created nor destroyed.
Yeah.
It just changes form.
Exactly,
Which is a
right.
spiritual and a scientific concept.
The spirit lives on after death. That's exactly what that means, is because it's physical form.
Changing form.
Exactly.
Just like water to gas to ice to solid.
And going back to the Big Bang, God creation, where did all of the matter of my body come from, right? Did it come from, it came from the same matter that has been existed for the last trillions, infinite amount of years.
Because even that's what the Big Bang is. All the matter in the universe was the size of smaller than the head of a pin, and then it exploded and it expands.
Infinite expanding, yeah.
And then it fucking happens again. It's just cycles.
Yep. So matter, what we think of as solid, the great illusion of solidity, which we're all very attached to solid things because we're attached to the way we look, what other people look like, what we feel, what our environment looks like. There's tons of space in between this hard, seemingly compact, solid
On a molecular level.
object. Yeah, there's tons of space. Nothing's ever really touching, right?
Nope.
So that's like a big illusion in and of itself, that matter is something. It's all just energy. The atoms are just basically energy. Light is basically energy. Your ability to see something right now is energy, right?
It is energy. So
energy
equals matter, right?
And so if we're not talking science, right? If we're trying to bridge, or if we are bridging science and spirituality, if you took a famous guru that said, we are all the same
spirit
from the same soul.
But Albert Einstein said we're all energy. It's the same goddamn thing.
Same thing. Soul, energy, we're all made up of energies. We're all made up of atoms, we're all made up of energy, right? So energy can neither be created nor destroyed, like we just said. The soul is indestructible, spirit is energy. So you don't have to think it's woo-woo, because it's really the same thing as science, right? So it's just your attachment to science and your attachment to what you think spirituality is, as some sort of woo-woo concept, is just your own roadblock to understanding.
Well, that's the coolest part of the scientific method. It's provable and repeatable.
Yep.
So now they've just confirmed what ancient civilizations have been saying for thousands of years.
Thousands of years. So spirit is energy. They're the same thing.
So energy equals everything.
Because
and
everything.
Spirit equals everything.
Energy is everything. Literally everything. Your body is energy right now. There's a reason why electrical currents pass through your body. There's a reason why your body, every cell, atom in your body is vibrating, just at a lower pace that you can't see it, right?
So if you can think it, you can create it. Or if you can think it, you can do it.
Yeah, everything is energy, including the thoughts, your feelings, your body. That's why we've gone through this whole breakdown of mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, because we're just breaking down the different modalities of how energy is impacting our lives, essentially, right?
Well said.
But we separate it, right, into because it feels separate. But again, it's all the same thing. So spirit is everything, if energy is everything, because spirit is energy.
Yep. That's why it's just breaking down fear and facing your fears of when people are like, I don't know if I can lose weight, or I don't know if I can get bigger muscles.
What energy is being put out from that thought, right?
Sounds like doubt and fear and negative energy, but you can switch that and make it positive.
Because the physical manifestation seems permanent, right? It always seems permanent in the moment. But with the one thing you know about life, there's only two things that are guaranteed: death and taxes, right? And taxes not even for some people.
Tax is a fucking scam anyway.
Exactly, right? So if everything is already impermanent, then what's there even to fear, right? So that's the hardest thing to come to terms with, right? We'll probably do a whole episode on death, but
yeah, I was gonna say change, which is kind of the metaphor of death. You're just like changing into a different cycle.
Fall into winter into spring. Right?
Yeah, but the fear of change, that feeling where you're comfortable or whatever, is not the fear of change. Change is awesome. It's the resistance to change. You holding on to that old shit is the fear.
That's that comfort.
Yes.
of what I know.
I don't want to change.
Which is a biological survival mechanism, because
Yes.
before we attained self-awareness, we were just the same as a deer trying to survive.
You ever
same as
seen
a rabbit
the
trying to survive.
Croods?
I know of
Animated
the movie. I have not seen it, though.
Of their cavemen and shit.
Yeah.
And the father is super, the daughter is adventurous, and she wants to go out of the cave, and he's like, don't leave the cave. The safety's in the cave.
Yeah.
And she's like, but there could be better stuff out there. He's like, don't leave the cave.
Radical idea.
Radical idea. Shut her up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, how did we end up getting into some modern civilization if it wasn't for someone being curious, right?
Curious monkey coming down out of the trees.
I mean, I think they've done, this is a side note, but like, I think like on Ancestry.com, or just like DNA genetic testing, there is a gene for safety and for adventurousness.
Oh, sure.
Which is why some civilizations, some groups of people crossed that bridge, and some people didn't. Why some people settled, and then some people were nomadic cultures.
For sure.
That's a genetic programming, right? And so that just allowed, which is no coincidence, because there need to be people that stayed in the place, and there need to be people that moved to new places. And here we are now, all over the world.
Ain't no coincidences, bro. It's all here for a reason.
Everything is
connected.
connected.
Everything is connected. So it's the same, if you want to boil it down, to your sleep, your hydration, your food, and your exercise is connected to how your physique is going to look and how you're going to feel. Your thoughts are connected. Everything is connected. That's why it's like, we always used to make fun of like arm day, back day, leg day, chest day. I'm only doing calves and rear delts and forearms today or
Yeah.
whatever. The body's one piece.
Yeah.
Everything is the same.
If you're standing and doing a bicep curl, your leg, well, whether you know it or not, legs are engaged, core is engaged, upper back's engaged.
Yep.
The eyes, the muscles of your eyes are engaged. There's lots going on.
When you're standing, 70% of the load is distributed to your lower back and your QL and your core. And then it's 15% to each leg, assuming that they're equally distributed.
Yeah.
Assuming that you have two legs.
That's also true.
Because you are not your legs.
Oh,
You have legs.
You have them. You have
And
them.
you're in control of them. And you should use them. And that's why you should squat. Because because Albert Einstein says so.
Albert
And that's
Einstein.
more of a, physics right there. Gravity.
Yeah, he knew all about training. He was a G when it comes to training. He would probably be the best personal trainer if he was alive right now, because he understood it all. But in terms of, like we were just talking about, everything is energy, relating back to the mental aspects of training.
Your thoughts are energy.
Thoughts are energy too. So all of these things, diet, right? Conscious consumption of
Yes.
listening, reading.
If the news and Facebook and the negative coworkers and negative family members are
Yeah.
pumping negative energy into you, you feel that.
Yeah.
And it manifests itself in shitty mind and a shitty body.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not important to stay informed, or not important to listen to your friends, or not important to do, but just be aware, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the meditation aspect, become aware, consume things that lead to your personal growth, because if you want to see the change, be the change you want to see in the world, right? I think Rumi said, yesterday I was clever, so I want to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I want to change myself, right? So that first aspect, it really is all mental, right? Because it starts...
Yeah, everything starts in the mind.
Starts there, right? Your thoughts become reality.
Literally.
Thoughts are influenced by... Thoughts create a loop of feelings, right? So they really can trigger a lot. So training your mind to be aware, to have different modalities of getting your thoughts out, of training your thoughts, of observing your thoughts, which is what writing, thinking, contemplating is, consuming positive thoughts from wiser people who have lived and experienced higher level things, listening and reading. And then ultimately, what we're all here to do is really create something of our own.
Love it. Because when people are training really hard and they're like, how did you get through it? And they're like, mind over matter, bro. But it's like, mind is matter.
Aha.
So that means it's only in the mind. If you can think it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's, whether you want to talk about, like I said, Albert Einstein and a scientist, or Rumi and a philosopher and a spiritual guru, or fucking David Goggins talking about surviving Hell Week and fucking the Navy SEALs and shit like that.
Yeah.
You ever hear fucking Goggins talk about snatching souls and shit?
No.
He goes, because he sees other people's mood change, and he goes, my mind is so sharp, I'm feeding off of their negative energy. When they get all happy and fucking sad and up and down and all that, I start snatching fucking souls. He goes, because it's all in the mind. He's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, he's not the strongest, but he has the toughest mind, so he can survive all that shit. once again, feeding off of adversity from his childhood and
Yeah, things he's
all
gone
that
through.
stuff
Yeah.
and things he's gone through. But like, that's the best, because that was the story he dropped the other day. He was talking about they do this 10-mile run where you know where the start and where the end is. So when there's like a quarter mile left, guys start cracking jokes and smiling and they're like, yeah, we're about to get water and sandwiches and whatever. So the instructors are like, oh, you want to fuck around and tell jokes when we're almost done? Fucking we'll keep going. And they blow right past and everybody goes, oh, fuck, and puts their head down. And God goes, that's when I start snatching souls. He goes, I'm in the back because I'm not the fastest. But now they've let their energy down, and I'm feeding off of their negative energy. He goes, I start passing motherfuckers and talking shit. Now I'm in the front. And we're at, he's like, okay, so the 10 miles I was in the back. Now we're on mile 13 and I'm in the front. Is that my mind or is that my body? He outlasted him with his mind. Starts in the mind.
Create positive thoughts.
Train your mind.
Create a positive life.
That's it. Positive, happy, healthy life. We're here to help you motherfuckers.
Train your mind. We out.
Peace.